Hello everyone, this will be a complete ChatGPT tutorial for beginners. We will go through a lot of interesting things, like creating a new OpenAI account, then logging in using this account and using ChatGPT. Then we're going to go through some more advanced and pro ways and features to use ChatGPT. This video should cover everything you need to know, so let's begin. First things first, open your browser and search for OpenAI. There it is. Click on the first one, openai.com. So this is basically the company that created ChatGPT. As you can see here, introducing ChatGPT research release. Click on try. If you already have an account, then great. You can go right ahead and log in. If you don't already have an account, then click on sign up right here. It's very easy. You can sign up with your email address or with a Google or Microsoft account. In my case, I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. Okay, now we're inside ChatGPT and we can start using it. You should know that it is 100% free and it was made for research purposes. Another thing to keep in mind is that ChatGPT collects data, which means that your conversation with the AI bot can be reviewed by the AI trainers in order to improve their systems and the ChatGPT experience. So that's why try not to share any sensitive or personal information in your conversations. Nice. Let's begin. This is our ChatGPT main dashboard. This right here is your sidebar. We've got this dark or light mode right here. We've got also the OpenAI Discord server right here. Truly remarkable to think that ChatGPT is less than 1 year old. So anyways, you can join their server to see the latest trends on this amazing tool or to share your feedback. Okay, and here are the updates and FAQs, and this is where you can log out your account. And this one right here is the reset thread. This is the most important one of them, and we'll talk about it later. But first, let's take a look here. These are some examples of some inputs that you can place in the chat. Here, you can type and chat with the AI bot, and you can ask it whatever you want. And these are the capabilities and the limitations of ChatGPT. Here it says that ChatGPT does remember what you said in the beginning of the conversation. That's very cool. And also it allows the user to provide follow-up corrections, which means that, for example, you don't like the answer that was generated by ChatGPT, then you can always ask it to generate another one for you. And here it says that it is trained to refuse and decline any inappropriate requests. Now let's take a look at some of the limitations that ChatGPT has. Very cool. It says here that it may occasionally generate incorrect or false information sometimes. So, better watch out from this one, because it says right here that ChatGPT's information and knowledge of the world and events are limited after 2021, which means that any information generated after 2021 can be incorrect and it needs to be checked. It also says here that it may occasionally produce some harmful instructions. So, if you come across any one of these, just ignore them. And now, let's start actually using ChatGPT. It's a very easy and straightforward process. You just write any message or prompt that you want right here, and then ChatGPT will generate a response or an output for you in under a few seconds. Let's start with our very first prompt. I'm gonna start with a very simple one. What is 7 plus 2? And yeah, the output is 9. We've got right here our prompt that we just typed, or our input. And here is the output of ChatGPT. Very simple. So, our output here is 9. But as you can see here, there is a button for try again. So what that button does if we click on it, then we get the same answer. The only difference is that it is written in a very different way. So, if you keep pressing on the try again button and you get all the possible answers and results that you can possibly get, then you might receive an error message. Or it can even give you better answers. Okay, nice. And here we have these thumbs up and thumbs down buttons or icons. And these were made to give you your feedback about the generated answers to OpenAI. Also, when you hover over right here, you will get these arrows. And what they do essentially is they show you the different outputs that we've got. So we can go through them. So let's say I like this one the most. So I can give this one a thumbs up. And I can submit something like a nice answer as a feedback. And if I didn't like the answer, for example, then I can go to it with the arrows and I can do the same thing for it by giving it a thumbs down button and writing something like bad or wrong answer for feedback. So that was our very first prompt. However, keep in mind that ChatGPT is not trained to do math calculations, but it rather provides information based on the text that it was trained on. So what this means is that you have to be extra careful with the messages that you type, because as you can see, it doesn't have like superpowers or something. It will only give you the information that was trained on. And now we can continue this conversation as long and however we want. And if we go back all the way to the top, this whole thing here is called a conversation. And if we want to start a new one, what I mean by that is a new conversation, then we would have to go back to the button I mentioned earlier, Reset Thread. Yes, let's click on it, and it will simply take us back to our first dashboard. Great! And that's how you start a new conversation with ChatGPT. You don't have to reopen your account or something. Now let's try the light mode of ChatGPT. As you can see, it's very bright to the eyes. So if you have sensitive, bad eyes like mine, then I wouldn't recommend it. You should just stick with the dark mode. Now these right here are the updates and FAQs of ChatGPT. Here you can find all the information that you're looking for about ChatGPT. So now let's go back to our dashboard and let's start with our very first advanced prompt in ChatGPT. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to write a romantic story with some drama in it. Okay, this story is pretty damn good. If we want this story to be filled with more details and to be more specific, then all we have to do is to be more specific with our prompt. So that's why we're gonna continue our previous conversation with another prompt. So I'm gonna write, make this story funnier and add more characters to it. Now ChatGPT will rewrite our story again, but this time it will make it more funny and it will add more characters to the story. Awesome. Let's try something different now. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to add a nice moral at the end of the story, but keep the same story as it is and don't make a lot of changes. And yes, at the end of our story, we now have a nice moral as an ending. Very nice. Here is another great way that I personally use with ChatGPT, and that is to generate content and legal pages for websites, blogs, social media, and etc. Let's try it together. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to generate a shipping and refund policy pages for my online clothing store or an e-commerce store, if you want to call it like that. And yes, it will generate it for you in a few seconds. So instead of wasting hours or even days maybe on writing these legal pages manually in the old-fashioned way, you can use the help of the old good ChatGPT. However, please keep in mind that this is a generic template and you have to change a few things in order for these pages to match your website. Here, for example, your store's name, you have to replace that with your own store name. For example, your store name is H&M. Then you can go right ahead and delete your store name and replace it with H&M. Very simple, right? Another thing is to watch out of the plagiarism and copyright in these templates. And to do that is also very easy. Just copy this text right here and go to checkplagiarism.com. I will leave a link for you guys in the description down below. And you can paste that text here and click on check plagiarism. If there is any copyright, sentence, or anything else, then you can change it or even remove it completely. And that's it. You now have a complete shipping and refund policy that was generated in a few seconds with ChatGPT. We can play with more prompts for these pages. For example, let's say that this is a small local clothing store located in New York City. Then I can add a prompt that says update these pages to be relevant for people who only live in New York City and for rules and regulations of this area. So what ChatGPT will do is it will give us the same previous response, but with a slightly new changes and updates, like this New York law right here. Now, let's try something different with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very useful with writing documents, like a resume or a cover letter, for example. I'm gonna type, write a professional resume for me. My name is Saif B. Jeddu, and please include any relevant skills, languages, and experiences that are needed for a chef position. So, what I did here is that I made this input very specific for ChatGPT because I wanted to receive a very specific resume that matches myself and my qualifications. And this is exactly what ChatGPT will generate for us. Here, as you can see, it will start off with my essential information, like my name, my contact information, my skills. Then it will go to my education and my experience. Great. This is a great resume template that we can use. But of course, we're gonna have to change a few things in order to match my actual resume. Now, let's try a cover letter. I'm gonna ask it, based on that resume, write a cover letter for me for a chef position at a restaurant called Tim Hortons. Again, I made this input specific because I wanted this cover letter to be specific for the position that I'm applying for. Some of these things can be inaccurate. I might not even had that much of an experience, like it says here. So, we're gonna add here, update this cover letter by deleting the previous job experience and adding a 3 months internship at the Bellagio Hotel for me. Yes, awesome. This way, it will replace that fake job experience with my actual 3 months of internship experience. Great. So, the trick here is to get the results that you need from ChatGPT. You have to be always more specific with what exactly what you want and what you type in your prompt. Now, let's try something else with ChatGPT. And I know a lot of you have been waiting to see this one. And that is how to create blog articles with ChatGPT. I'm gonna start the first prompt with generate the best 6 niches for blogging in 2023. It will give us the top 6 niches for blogs based on many factors such as views, SEO, competition, revenue, and so on, and many more. Let's now add another input. Give me 8 blog post topic titles for articles about fitness and nutrition. And it will accordingly give us 8 different topic options for fitness and nutrition. For example, I like this one, the second one, but I'm still not quite sure about it. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to generate 10 different variations on this title. And some of these variations of the title are really interesting. So let's pick this one, for example. And now let's write the content of a blog post with that title, or an outline of the post, if you want to call it. And now it will generate an organized outline for our article. It will give us an introduction, some important key points here, and even a conclusion at the end, or a nice summary. So, this is how to write a blog post with ChatGPT. It's super easy. And now we can add in another prompt that says, write the introduction content for this article, and we can make it at least 50 words long. And it will immediately do it for us. We can also take a random sentence from this introduction, and we can ask ChatGPT to make it shorter for us, for example. And so, it will indeed take that sentence and make it shorter. We can also take this sentence and make it longer, and it will do that for us, no problem. We can also ask ChatGPT to write this sentence in a different language. For example, I'm gonna ask it to write this sentence in Spanish. Yes, awesome. We could have also translated it with Google, but I'm pretty sure that ChatGPT is better at this. Now, let's try something else. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to rephrase the previous sentence in English. And now, it's gonna give us this. It's like a new sentence, but it is basically about the same thing. Now, let's add in, translate it back to English, but this time, make it like a poet line. And now, let's try, fix the wrong grammar in this phrase. Good life, A, brings a good health. And it will correct this grammar for you. So, as you can see, the possibilities with ChatGPT are endless here. ChatGPT is also really good with human emotions, and it can even give jokes and humor. Well, this is exciting, very exciting. Let's try it together. Write a romantic joke. Good one. You can also ask ChatGPT to give you another one. I'm gonna type in, write another one, but make it funnier. And depending on how specific your input is, this joke can either be funnier, sadder, darker, and so on. So, for example, you can send this joke to your life partner or a friend. Let's try it. Write a funny joke about my wife, Annie, who loves me very much, and make it a little romantic. And, whoa, you get the idea by now. Let's try it. Now, something else, a little bit harder. Some roleplay. Yes. Let's try to pretend that you are Joe Rogan and you have Mr. Beast as your guest, as your podcast guest. What joke would you say as Joe Rogan? Now, I think ChatGPT does know Mr. Beast a little, since his memory is limited only to before 2021. But let's see what happens. But Mr. Beast did produce content before that year. And yeah, as you can see, this is pretty accurate. I think that Joe Rogan can say something like this if he had Mr. Beast as a guest in his podcast. Another prompt that we can work with in ChatGPT is that we can ask ChatGPT to give us the code for a video game that we like to develop, for example. I'm gonna try this. Generate the C+ code for a Flappy Bird video game. And it's gonna give us a well-structured video game of Flappy Bird's C+ code that we can use it easily to generate any video game's code we want instead of doing it the manual way. And it's not just with the C+ language. It can develop any other small video game with any other code like Python or JavaScript. So let's now try some JavaScript coding with ChatGPT. Let's start with a simple one. From these examples right here, how do I make an HTTP request in JavaScript? So, it will give us our answer straight away, and it will do that by explaining to us what it's doing first, and then it will give us the JavaScript code or the code snippet, and at the end, it will give us a small description of what this code actually does. Nice! Now, it seems like ChatGPT is pretty great with pretty much everything, but it is not error-proof. Sometimes, the servers can be insanely overloaded with too many users, or these servers can be shut down completely by OpenAI. So, what can you do in these situations? Well, first, it's best to start a new prompt by resetting thread and not pressing on the try again button. And if that doesn't work, then try refreshing your page. And if that still doesn't work, and an error message still appears to you, then log off completely of your account. Then log in again. This should work and fix the problem. But if for some reason it doesn't work, then what's left for you to do is to wait some time and then enter your prompt again. Okay. Now, ChatGPT is also pretty good with summaries and simplifying things. For example, I'm going to search here for the US Constitution, and then I'm going to copy this whole first article of that Constitution, and then I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to simplify this article for me in only 4 sentences. And then I'm gonna paste my article right here. So the answer should be a small paragraph explaining that whole long article of the US Constitution in only 4 sentences. And whoa! We can further play around this. We can, for example, tell ChatGPT to explain that article for me like I'm a small child, and it will explain it for me with a very simple words that even a 6-year-old child can understand. You see, this is the power of ChatGPT. We can also ask it to give us the 3 most important points of that article. Another one is to ask it to explain that article in only 10 words or less. And it actually managed to somehow shorten that whole article in under 10 words. Amazing, truly amazing. Now, Let's try some real-life utilities of ChatGPT. For example, I want to cook something sweet today. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to give me 5 examples of what I can make. And based on my input, it will give me my 5 examples. So here it gave us the right ingredients for that plate, and we can continue this conversation by requesting it to add the necessary steps to cook this dish, and it will simply give it to us. Furthermore, I can ask it to give us the necessary shopping list that we need to buy the ingredients from the store in order to make this plate. Normally, we will have to go to Google to ask all of these questions, and it can take a lot of time to actually find the right information in Google. But with the help of ChatGPT, this can be done in a few seconds, and we can continue this conversation based on its context. I hope you guys have found this course useful. ChatGPT is a great and a very useful tool for our daily life. If you've enjoyed this video, then please press a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next course.